This boat has a spoked wheel, and if you look to the left edge of that wheel is a chrome dish. It looks like a dinner plate. Well, that machine is a hydraulic hauler. That grabs the lines from your traps, spins very quickly, and brings your gear on this boat to the left-hand rail. You then yank the traps and work on them right at that spot. You'd clean them out, you'd rebait them, and as lobsters come aboard, you would drop them into that white tank. If you look dead center on the boat, there's that white tank with a culling tray. You put your lobsters into those little cubby holes. That makes them behave for a short moment, and then you get a chance to measure them. Small ones get tossed. If they're big enough, you put bands on them, you drop them into that tank and circulate the water to keep them alive throughout your day's efforts. On a boat like this, typically a crew of 2. Usually the owner is the captain. He'd hire a helper called a stern man that would join him. Now, on a commercial venture like this, you do not haul one trap at a time. You would haul a string of traps. A boat like the Asia would haul about 10 traps, clean them out, and then set the whole string back to the sea in a straight and orderly fashion. You may notice on the cabin roof of every lobster boat, they all display a different buoy color. Each fisherman randomly picks a buoy color that's a little bit different than a neighboring fisherman. This is our identification process on how we keep our traps clear and separate from one another's. Here in Plymouth, we have 40 lobstermen who work in the fishery. Collectively, they bring in a catch of close to 1 million pounds of lobsters. We land 1 million pounds just in Plymouth alone. Now, as you examine the rest of the boating population in Plymouth, the majority of our boats are certainly recreational. Plenty of power, plenty of sailboats. What you'd never ever find here would be a large ship. You'll never ever find a tanker, a freighter, nor a cruise ship. And the reason is the water depth. Even at high tide, we only have 10 to 15 feet of water under our boat, not nearly enough to float a large ship. So Plymouth has and always will be considered to be a small boat harbor, but still pretty busy. During July and August, you would be able to count up somewhere between 700 to 800 boats that call Plymouth Harbor home. You show up here in the wintertime, all the boats that are scattered on moorings are removed because of the threat of winters like we just had. As I spoke of earlier, we had 8 inches of ice in this inner harbor. There is no way you're going to get out here to monitor your boat or check it. So as a safe precaution, boat owners yank their boats and store them on dry land for safe winter keeping. Now, behind us, the town wharf. Ahead to our right, the second of 2 piers, the State Pier. And tied on and secured on the south side of the dock, the Mayflower 2. We'll take a swing in here. We'll give you a very close-up view of it. And certainly everybody on board, keeping in mind the Mayflower 2 we're going to examine is a replica of the original. But this one's getting along in age as well. It's 58 years young. Built in 1957, built in Plymouth, England. And they sailed it from Plymouth, England to Plymouth, Massachusetts, exactly like the Pilgrims would have done it, entirely under sail. The ship does not have an engine. This boat is 90 foot long at the waterline, and back in 1620, on board would have had a total of 127 on board. Now this would have included 102 Pilgrims and the 25 crew members they had hired to operate the ship and deliver them to the New World.
Wow.
Now this voyage took place in the late fall of 1620. Took a couple of months to accomplish it. And on board a few things you may have expected. Very tight, very cramped quarters, very little privacy. You travel the North Atlantic in the late fall. Heavy weather and rough seas would certainly be expected. Now, if you look to the rear, the stern of the Mayflower 2, you'll see a small boat having a single mast, known as a shallop. And a boat of this size and design would have been dismantled, stored, and kept right on deck, and used as a small workboat or a small commuter boat. And in all probability, that would have been the first boat to make landfall in a very shallow port like Plymouth. We have a lot of sandbars, mud flats, and shallows protecting this port. And it takes about 10 feet of water to float a boat the size of the Mayflower. And in all probability, the shallop would have been the first boat to the beach. Either by sailing it, by rowing it, maybe a little of both. You see a shadowed archway. Look yourself into that arch. You will see Plymouth Rock resting comfortably right on the sand. Now behind Plymouth Rock is a large grassy hill, locally known as Coles Hill, C-O-L-E-S. Coles Hill is a burial spot for many of the original Pilgrims. Now when they showed up here almost 400 years ago, They started with 102. Exactly half of them died their first winter. It's legend that half of them were buried in unmarked graves right up on top of Coles Hill. Now, to the left of Coles Hill, the only marina that you'll see in this area, Plymouth Brewers Marine, they have a cool ball. You have a chain coming to the surface, and you float that chain with these little white balls. This hardware would keep your boat safe and secure during the boating season. Now, if you're going to use your boat, you're going to have a small tender or a skiff, or you hire the local launch services on either side of the harbor that would run you around with a small bay. Once again, all these boats are generally full in the wintertime because of our miserable winter weather here and the threat of ice. Look to a distance left, the port side, you'll see a bunch of rocks. It's a breakwater man-made in the early 60s. It's a really nice place to go for a walk if you got an hour to kill. And access is gained right next to our state boat ramp. It's just a few minutes of where you boarded this boat. But the breakwater's purpose is really to protect this harbor from ocean storms. And here in New England, we are quite famous for northeasters. There are windstorms that blow for 2 to 3 days. That breakwater knocks down the wind and the wave action from the northeast direction, and it makes this inner harbor a much safer place to be. And we talked about the level of tides. That's very evident at the breakwater right now. You'll even notice on our way back, the apron of that breakwater at the base of it, that'll all be covered up as the tide comes in just in the short time you'll be on this boat. They keep you safe when entering and exiting Plymouth Harbor. You'll see to our left one rock pile that's quite visible. The scary one is the one left of that. You see a single bird, a cormorant, sitting on that rock pile. Now, low tide was at 10 o'clock. We're 2 hours into the coming tide, and that rock pile is just starting to cover up. And there's been more than one boat voyage out of Plymouth that has put itself dead square on that rock pile and spent the day there, or maybe not at all, sunk. But that gets covered up. So when you're coming in and out of Plymouth Harbor, to the right side of our boat, the southern side, 80 feet of water. To the left side, nasty rock and ledge. You make sure you stay on the south side of the bug light in and out of Plymouth. Now, people used to live out here. This lighthouse was built in the 1870s, about 135 years of age, built of cast iron, and securely fastened to the ocean bottom. I have never been aboard the bug light, but I have dropped people off on it and talked to people who have worked on it. And it is 24 feet across in the red area, and internally, the red area would have been an area for storage, batteries and equipment. Move up to the catwalk area. When people lived out here to maintain the light in the fog horn, internally that would have been your living quarters. Go up to the top level with a single window, that would have been to house your lighthouse and your lights, your fog horn, your radio equipment, your navigational equipment as well. But people used to live out here for weeks at a time to maintain the light and the fog horn. Certainly now, solar panels and automated controls take care of all that for us. If you look to the left edge of the bug light at a distance, you'll see the large hill. That is in the town of Duxbury. It's called Captain's Hill. The monument propped up on the left side, left of the bug light, that monument is the Miles Standish Monument. And if you know your Pilgrim history, Miles Standish was the military leader back in their day. look to the right of the bug light at a distance, you'll see the only island we have in Plymouth Harbor. It's called Clark's Island. It is 3 acres around. 11 families share ownership of that private island. In the center of the island, there's a rock that you probably have never heard of, and it's called Pulpit Rock, like a church altar. And it's a very large rock. If you see Plymouth Rock, it's about as big as my pilot house. And not all that impressive. Pulpit Rock is about as big as this boat. And legend has it, when the Pilgrims first arrived here, it was not the mainland where they spent their first night. They landed on Clark's Island and had a religious service at Pulpit Rock to say thanks for their safe voyage across Cape Cod Bay in an effort to find fresh water. So hence Pulpit Rock. There's a number of people go out there and celebrate that exact event on an annual basis. If you look to the right of Clark's Island, we'll call it the 10 o'clock area, there's a beach area. That's called Saquesh. Saquesh is an Indian word meaning place of many clams. And there's about 200 homes out there, and they have the same characteristics as Plymouth Beach to our right. No running water, plumbing, no electricity, primarily summer residences. They have a unique ability because their deeds allow them to own the road. So they put a guard out there and they keep people off there that don't belong. And it's like their own little private area during the summer months anyway. They open it up in the wintertime. You can go out there, and I do go up and eat clams once in a while. The unique thing about Saquesh is these people pay substantial taxes to the town of Plymouth because it is a territory of Plymouth, but they get no services at all. Any emergency services are all rented to Duxbury with a much closer response time.
This is the way the Pilgrims would have come into Plymouth Rock. And those columns there are built over the actual rock itself.
That was supposed to be. Beautiful. Yeah. It's also interesting how each of them have their own colors. That I thought that I never knew that before.
Hey, this is nice up here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, very nice.
It's not breezy up here. Yeah. Which surprised me.
Yes, me too.
George Astoria scares me.
Yeah, it is cool. Perfect day.
Because, well, you've got the Columbia coming down the freshwater, you know, coming into
Yes.
this.
Not too hot,
And
it's not too strong.
they have a museum right there. And they pinpointed all of the wrecks. They have about 700 sinkings. It's unbelievable. And the Coast Guard is trained just because of the turbulence. They have a boat that will go through the water, but it'll turn 350 degrees. Yeah, it's unbelievable. But when I saw those waters, I thought, this is really, very